Hello, my name is Benjamin Troian, and today I will be doing a video essay on issues. More importantly, what is an issue? While this question might seem fairly light, it is a lot more complex than you might realize. And in order to answer it, we must first start with one man.
It's Chaitan's theorems that are the backbone for a lot of the things I'll be talking about today. Just a brief summary, what his theorems show is that the probability that we see reality as it is zero. And so the question then is, if we've been shaped by evolution not to see reality as it is, how should we think about our perceptual systems? What are they actually reporting to us? And the metaphor that I think is very helpful is the desktop interface.
Donald Hoffman is a professor in the Department of Cognitive Studies at the University of California. His research encompasses consciousness, visual perception, and evolutionary psychology. He is famous in the scientific community for his multi-model user interface theory for the mind-body problem, which he explains here.
Evolution has given you a desktop interface, space and time as you perceive them. 3D space as you perceive it in this room is just your desktop. Physical objects are merely the icons on your species-specific desktop. And the whole point of space and time and physical objects is not to show you the truth, it's to hide the truth.
If you're confused, I don't blame you. In many of his interviews, he uses the exact same word-for-word examples. This makes trying to wrap your head around the concept pretty difficult if you don't understand the examples, but I think I've grasped what he's trying to say. This is a yellow flower. We perceive the flower this way because evolution saw it best fit for our day-to-day needs. A bee would see this flower entirely differently because of its evolutionary needs. The ultraviolet light BC paints a target at the center of the flower, pointing the way for the bees to pollinate. We don't see it this way because it doesn't suit us.
Evolution is playing with new interfaces all the time, very, very complex interfaces. The interface is arbitrary. As long as it has enough information, it can then guide adaptive behavior and be completely unrelated to any resemblance of truth.
We are limited in our perceptions around us because we have evolved to suit our environmental needs. This can tie into how we see different views and opinions on issues in our daily lives, ignorant of the needs of others because we do not have the same needs as them. Our worldviews are shaped by our experiences. But why do we think like this? Well, the problem of the communication of ideas runs deep.
And we are, in fact, a species that's continuing to evolve, and the way that evolution is working is perhaps very, very different than you might expect. Most of us think that we're the species that's getting the bigger and bigger brains, and that's been our niche. In fact, our brains are shrinking. Our brains were the largest 20,000 years ago, and our brains are in free fall. For the last 20,000 years, our brains have been shrinking at a meteoric rate. We've lost 10% of our brain volume. The size of a tennis ball, the volume of a tennis ball has disappeared from our brains in the last 20,000 years.
As our social networks have grown, we have lost much of our brain mass because it was not needed. Hoffman uses the phrase foraging for fitness to describe this process. All the brain mass we have lost has not been needed for our immediate survival. Therefore, evolution adapts. Fitness, however, does not present reality as it is merely a tool we have evolved to use. But how do we reach past this innate desire for survival and come to a true understanding of reality? It is time to talk about Jiddu Krishnamurti.
How do we tell the difference between observing ourselves in the sense you mean, and merely thinking about ourselves?
Krishnamurti has a very fascinating background. Proclaimed to be the new world teacher for the occult theosophy organization, he was raised to be a wise thinker. However, later in life, as his intellect and agency grew, he rejected the title he was given and set out on his own to make a difference in the world. He is one of the most widely known and well-respected thinkers of the 20th century, teaching in schools around the world and holding monthly seminars in his California home.
Krishnamurti said, "This is no magnificent deed because I do not want followers, and I mean this. The moment you follow someone, you cease to follow truth."
His teachings focused on how we as humans could improve ourselves, stressing the importance of individual experiences. In his book, The First and Last Freedom, he says, "If you desire to experience the new, you are merely indulging in illusion. Truth, God, or what you will, is not something to be experienced. Only in that state is there a possibility for renewal, newness, and revolution."
Our brains are conditioned, and we live in that condition. And that condition is creating havoc in it.
It is impossible to change without letting go of past mindsets. In order to experience different worldviews, you must escape narrow-minded thinking. In opening up to new possibilities and new ways of thinking, we can alleviate many of the issues present in the world today. Krishnamurti says, "It is only the new that can transform, not the old. If you pursue the pattern of the old, any change is a modified continuity of the old. There is nothing new in that."
There are no easy solutions. There is no
No,
easy...
of course not. But you see, is there an easy solution for a blade of grass that grows in the cement? There's a path there. And you see grass pushing. It broke. If it has life, it goes through. Right? Blade of grass. As our brains are terribly limited, our life is limited. Right? And can that brain, which has evolved through millennia, can that brain radically change?
In order to give meaning to reality, we must first understand ourselves. The reality we see is not necessarily the truth, and this can cause us to be blinded from truly comprehending the issues at hand. Our brains look for patterns, and in lingering on our state of fitness, we will never truly change. We must accept these notions of reality and escape our narrow-minded thinking. In doing so, we can truly see an issue for what it is, whatever it may be. Yeah, so those are my points. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was educational or shined a light on this subject in case you were wondering about it. And I think that's where I'm going to end it. Thank you for watching.